Hey there, guys. Alright, today we are back with some Eastory, this time, Killing Hitler, the story of George L. Now, before we dive into the video, make sure you go check out the links below in my description box or in my pinned comment in the comment section. I have a link to my Twitch channel where I stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. US Central Standard Time. Would love it if you threw me a follow over there and came and hang out in the chat when I go live. Next up is my gaming channel link there. That is the link to my gaming channel here on YouTube, where I am just uploading old streams too, just so they can be up permanently. So anyways, Killing Hitler, the story of George L. I don't think I have heard this story before. Of course, I know I would say the most famous plot to kill Hitler being the Valkyrie. Was that Operation Valkyrie? I think that's what it was called, which is more popularized because of a movie with Tom Cruise. Which actually, by the way, Tom Cruise is a weird dude. But I fucking love Valkyrie. I do enjoy that movie. I can't remember how much of it is way off from his. I just think it was a well acted and well portrayed movie. Now, the story of George L. I don't know. So we're going to learn today. Go ahead and dive in.
Slayer 1944. Hitler is speaking to his officers about the situation on the front. Suddenly the room is wrecked by explosion. Some people are thrown up out of the windows, one is killed on the spot.
That's part of Operation Valkyrie, isn't it?
And many others are seriously injured. Meanwhile, Klaus von Stauffenberg, the man who is responsible for the bombing, is hurrying to Berlin to take over the power from the Nazis. But Hitler is alive, and their plan is bound to failure. Stauffenberg could only use one bomb, and in the last moment it was moved so that part of the table shielded Hitler from the blast. The plot involved thousands of people, many of whom were high state officials, and took many months to prepare. And all those powerful men together were unable to kill the Führer. Yet only less than 5.
You know, this is an interesting summary of the Operation Valkyrie, where the people here that were part of this plot, they had a lot of fucking political and military power. However, of course, they were missing, right? Hitler put people in power who, like people like, Himmler, of course, would have more power than these two, right? I'd say Himmler would be around in this station, people like Himmler and Goebbels. So, you know, they were missing having someone that was on this level here, in this in-between, where if they probably had someone in this in-between, they might have been more successful. However, the people in this in-between are very, people in this level are very, very, I guess, indoctrinated, obsessed with the idea of Nazism, and they truly believe in the idea of Nazism if they have this much power in this ring here. People here, you know, more like, I think that's all I wanted to say there. I can't think of any other points.
5 years ago, one man almost succeeded where thousands had failed. Today, we will tell his story.
Oh, so this is before Operation Valkyrie.
We'll have to go 10 years back in time. Nazis have come to power, and they are beginning to steer Germany towards war. Hitler is pursuing expansionist policies, and one victory
We are going to win so much, oh no.
follows another. Saarland is reunited with Germany, and Austria and Sudetenland are annexed. Many Germans saw this as Germany's return to great power status, and Hitler's popularity grew.
Adolf Hitler is the fear of the German.
However, one man saw the things otherwise. He saw the shadow of war. Where some saw the return of national glory and stability, he saw the descent toward another world war, and he came to a conclusion. The one that would have great impact on his life. He decided that if Europe is to avert another war, the men who were behind the aggressive policies had to be done away with. He decided that Hitler had to die. But who was this man? Meet Georg Elser. He is a craftsman, a rather skilled craftsman. However, for the job he has undertaken, he has no special skills. Yet he is dead serious about carrying it out. Where could
Well, sometimes having the passion in the heart is all you need.
one kill Hitler? Well, the best opportunity was probably in Munich around the 8th of November. Back in 1923, Hitler and the Nazi party attempted a coup in Munich. They seized the Bürgerpleukelle, but were later dispersed in street fighting. Hitler was imprisoned. After coming to power, Hitler commemorated the failed coup every year with a procession and a speech in the Bürgerpleukelle. On the 8th of November 1938, Elsa went to Munich to look for an opportunity for the assassination. One possibility was to shoot Hitler from the crowd of onlookers. However, the abundance of Nazi salutes and flags made that difficult. Then Hitler would speak in the Bürgerpleukelle, but only veteran Nazis were allowed to enter. As shooting Hitler was complicated, Elsa decided that it would be better to blow Hitler up during his speech. It didn't make his task a lot easier. The Kelle was basically a large pub that, for the most time, was open to all people. So one could be able to place a bomb there, but before Hitler's speech it would be searched. The bomb would have to be carefully concealed. How could you hide something as large as a timed bomb? Well, you put it in a wall or a pillar. If Elser could pull that off, then it would be days between placing the bomb and the explosion. That meant that Elser also needed an elaborate timer, one that could tick for days and go off with the precision of minutes. A task considered almost impossible with the technology of 1930s.
I don't even know how. I mean, obviously, I know how you do it today, but like, back in the 1936. Oh,
These alone were difficult tasks, not to mention the problems with obtaining the explosives. In theory, Nazi Germany was a totalitarian state where people were tightly controlled and therefore could not be able to acquire the explosive materials, at least without alarming the Gestapo. In practice, it was quite different. Military factories were crunching out arms on an unprecedented scale and were in need of workers. Else signed up to work in the shipping department of Waldenmeyer Armaments factory. He had to receive explosive materials and deliver them to other workers. There he got some knowledge about the explosives and could put aside 250 pellets of powder. Soon Else had to leave that place. He didn't have enough explosives yet and he headed
Hitler killing blast, Chuck Norris punch, Chinese knee, 2 hand grenades and a bag of fire.
out to find some more. He went to a local quarry and began helping out the workers. When the owner questioned, "Was are you doing here?" he replied that, "Ich bin unemployed. Ja. Und bored und want to help. Ja." He was hired on the spot and began regularly working there. Now it was time to steal some more explosives. As it was Nazi Germany, the security was very... Wait, that wasn't so hard at all. He went to the shed where the explosives were stored and found out that it wasn't even properly locked. Elsa began paying visits to the shed at night and carrying away small amounts of explosives. Finally, he carried away a crate full of detonators. The security at the quarry was so lax, the owner was sent to a concentration camp after Elsa's assassination attempt was discovered. Now that he had the materials, it was time to design the bomb. Elser had no prior knowledge about bomb making, and at the time there was no internet where one could look that up. But as German army was expanding, it needed more pioneers, and therefore literature about explosives circulated freely. Elser bought a booklet, and it taught him a lot. He carried out a couple of test explosions in his family's garden shed. His uncle was working in the field. Suddenly there was a loud noise from the shed, and horses panicked. Elser later explained to his uncle that he was trying something out, and when he was done, his uncle would certainly hear about it. The detonator was ready, but it was just the tip of the iceberg. The real difficulty was with the timing mechanism. It had to be compact, be able to work for a long time, and be precise. A difficult challenge, yet one that Elsa managed to carry out with perfection. He had received some clock parts instead of a salary in his earlier job, and now put them to good use. The basis of the mechanism was a clock. Every time the hour hand made a full circle, it moved the cogwheel for 1/12, so the timer could be set for 144 hours, or exactly 6 days in advance. In order to be totally sure, he added a second clock. The timer mechanism released a nail that struck a firing cap of a rifle shell. The powder in the shell ignited and detonated the blasting caps. These in turn detonated the explosives. If one failed, there were 2 more. The bomb was placed into a wooden box which was insulated with a layer of cork from the inside, so the ticking sounds couldn't be heard. Now Elsa went to Munich to install the bomb. If earlier he could manage without much risk, now it was really getting dangerous. He wanted to place the bomb into the pillar nearest to Hitler. He had to make a cavity in a concrete pillar with primitive tools. As the pillar was in a public place, he had to do it during the night and leave no trace. This task was the ultimate definition of grinding. He had to work in constant danger of discovery. In the evening, Elsa hid himself in the Bygapoi. When the night began, he went to the pillar and began his work. He worked for some hours and then slept until morning. When the cellar was opened, he sneaked out. First, he removed the wooden paneling at the base of the column and added hinges to it, turning it into a secret door. It took him 3 nights. Now the real work began. He had to dig out a cavity in the column for the device. At first, he used a chisel, but the noise was too loud. He then switched to a hand drill. If he had been discovered, a trip to the Gestapo and a death warrant would have been certain. Yet he had to return for more than 30 times.
Earlier, you know, it was being said that he didn't have the skills. Dude, man is fucking smart though.
Meanwhile, World War II broke out as Hitler invaded Poland. Finally, a week before Hitler's speech, the chamber was ready. Elsa pressed as much explosives in it as he could. He came to install the timing mechanism, but the cellar was unexpectedly locked. He had to return the next day. There was a dance party in the cellar. Elsa attended it, but he was far from dancing. When everyone had left, he began installing the timing mechanism, only to discover that the cavity was too small for it. Elsa sawed off the corners of the mechanism and attended another dance party. During the night, he installed the mechanism into the pillar. It fitted perfectly. He set the clocks in motion. The bomb was to go off in the middle of Hitler's speech. Elsa prepared to escape to Switzerland. He went back to the cellar to check the clocks. They were on time. Next day, he left towards the Swiss border. Every year, Hitler would speak in the Bygapoi for 2 hours. However, this time he needed to be back in Berlin to plan the war, so he cut his speech shorter and began it half an hour earlier. On the 8th of November, the Bygapoi was filled with 1,500 old Nazi party members. They greeted Hitler with multiple Sieg Heil! Then it was 1 hour and 20 minutes till explosion. Hitler spoke about German defeat in World War I, how Germany was betrayed from behind, about the rise of the Nazi Party and how it made Germany strong again, how the Western powers have dragged Germany into another war, but now Germany was strong and her enemies were weak. This time Germany will crush its opponents. The bomb was slowly ticking. Now it was only 20 minutes left. Hitler spoke for some time more and then hurried to the train station. 13 minutes later, the Bygapoi was rocked with explosion. The pillar was destroyed and part of the ceiling caved in. The hall was filled with smoke and cries of the wounded. 8 people were killed and more than 60 injured. After the chaos settled, the arrests and interrogations began. More than 1,000 people were rounded up by Gestapo. However, they didn't know that they already had the bomber in their custody. Elsa had attempted to escape to Switzerland, but he was captured by the guards just 25 meters from the border. Detonator parts had been found in his pocket with a postcard of Bygapoi. Soon, evidence began to mount against him. He was recognized by many people in Munich, and there was no point in denying. He confessed. However, he was not shot. Hitler wanted his assassins to be tried in a public trial after the war. It would have been a good propaganda. Therefore, the would-be assassins were rounded up in concentration camps. When it was clear that the war was lost, all of them were executed. Among them was Georg Elser. He was killed on the 9th of April 1945, a month before the end of the war.
Damn. You know what? That was a good video. Really well paced, conveyed all of the information needed. Yeah, this was good. This was really good. I think this might be one of my more favorite ones from Eastory. That was Killing Hitler, the story of Georg Elser. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys next video. Peace.